What's up, Aries? This is Jesse with 44 Astro with a general tarot reading for the energies leading up to the new moon coming up. It will be on September 14th. It's going to be at 9:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is going to occur at 21 degrees Virgo and 59 seconds, so pretty much 22 degrees Virgo, but we'll say 21 degrees. It's going to be in the 14th mansion called Alcemac. It's another good mansion for healing because Virgo is involved, but it's good for romantic love as well. It says it's not good for traveling by water, it says it's good for traveling by water, so I would suggest that if you want to travel internationally, that's probably a good time. But it says it's not good for traveling by land, so that would kind of make sense that domestic travel is probably not a good idea. I will put up a picture so you can read about Alcemac, this mansion of the moon, and what it's good for. Also, this moon will be conjunct the sun. It's going to be in a kite in the sky, so there will be a transiting kite, and I will show a picture of what a kite looks like and honestly what the astrology is right now. It's going to be anchored by the moon, or by Neptune, and Neptune is very dreamy energy, and it's going to be in Pisces, so it's, dreams, unconscious thoughts, these types of things, and it's going to be opposite the sun and the moon. So it'll be a good time for bringing those to the surface and healing. The Grand Trine will be anchored in Earth. So it's going to be a lot about making your dreams have a practical plan, especially since Virgo's involved. So there will be a lot of practical planning, and it could be for your physical health. You may want to start, it's more of a time for planning rather than actually starting. So it's a good time to start planning out maybe how you want to start getting healthy and fit. Oh, right there. Or whatever your next moves are financially, or whatever your dreams are and how to make them reality. It's a great time for planning. The Grand Trine is going to have Pluto in Capricorn. It's going to have Jupiter and Uranus are going to be in Taurus, and then of course the Sun and the Moon are going to be in Virgo. So it's not completely passive energy. Don't get me wrong. So in the kite, the shape of the kite, it's the big Grand Trine with the line down it with the two sextiles. So that planet that's on the sextiles and on the opposition is going to be the planet that you want to look at, and it's where the tension's going to be, and that's what's going to help you learn what you need to learn or motivate you to activate that kite so it can be useful. A Grand Trine by itself, even though they're like, oh, that's a good aspect, is actually kind of useless because there's no motivation to do anything. It's just ease. And when there's just ease, the average person isn't going to do much. So a kite, on the other hand, gives us a little motivation. So there should be some motivation with any of us to plan some stuff out right now, whether it be for health, whether it be for career, whatever our dreams are, or if it's something unconscious we need to bring to light, things that need to be resolved. Virgo is all about health and planning, and that's the truth of the matter. It looks like ending of a cycle, but I don't put a lot into this card. And the moon for Aries will be in the 4th and 5th, I think. No, 5th and 6th house. So that's kind of your, 5th house is the way you express yourself, life mission. And the sun will be there. So for you, that's really, your life mission. So for Aries, it's going to be a lot about your dreams for, what you want to do in this life. And thinking about them internally with the moon there and really being imaginative with Neptune and Pisces. And then finding a practical way with that Grand Trine being in Earth to bring them forth. And it's really all about planning right now more than actual implementation. And with Capricorn being involved and Virgo being involved, those are active signs. So it is a good time to, it won't be totally passive, which is good because, any water signs being involved, you're talking about passivity. And it's likely that it'll just go by and nothing will get done. You're just, the energies are good and everything's going good, so I'm just going to chill and do nothing. But with Virgo involved, that's not possible. Virgo's all about action, breaking things down, breaking things down, planning things. Virgos generally are OCD. A lot of times they're very detail oriented, and that's what this is all about. Taking those floaty, dreamy thoughts and then making a practical plan down to the details on how to implement it. And it's going to be a good time for that. Oh, there we go. Got 2 cards for you. And if it's this, 6th house, again, that's Virgo's house anyway. So again, we're talking about physical health. So for Aries, it's going to be like your life mission or physical health. And Mars is all about that in the natal chart, is about physical health and being like an athlete. So you may be doing that as a career, and it may be a good time for that. Let's do them one at a time. It's time to release negativity. Full moon in Scorpio. Not a bad card. And then we have your dreams need a practical plan. Exactly what I'm telling you. Can't make this stuff up. Fits very well with what I just said, doesn't it? Full moon in Taurus. And those two signs are solar opposites and are, a lot alike in a lot of ways. Okay, let's look at what the current situation is for Aries. You do have the Emperor here, so your card is here. 3 major arcana. You got the Hierophant. I mean, this is like, it's big dreams. This looks like big dreams because you got the Hierophant involved. You got Temperance, which is balance. Could be guidance. Could be using what you got to create. This is saying, your question is, how am I going to be the boss? How am I going to create this big thing? It's probably social media, if I had to guess. How am I going to get big on YouTube? Or how am I going to get famous? Or how am I going to get big? Or, it's using, and it could be that you're using the traditions that you've been taught or the things that you know throughout your life or the things that you believe, and using them in an alchemical way, controlling them to bring something big forward in your life. And with the astrology right now, even with the moon card I pulled, it's all about that for you right now. So this is about creating a big dream. It seems like that's what the question of the situation's about. Your current path has truth on it, clarity. King of Rods could be you, absolutely, as an Aries, absolutely. Could be you, could be a fire sign that you know or that you work with. This is all about, and then the 6 of Pentacles is all about giving and receiving. Ace of Swords, King of Rods, 6 of Pentacles. So, and it's like you're trying to get, it's like you're trying to figure out the balance of how to accomplish this dream, right? Like you're passionate about it, you're moving forward, you're looking, you're ready, you're ready, you're passionate, but you're trying to get clarity on the give and take of the situation. Like maybe somebody you're working with, you're feeling like maybe you're giving more, or maybe you're weighing whether you need to work with others or not. Because generally, this guy, he can work with others, but he's working over them. He's the boss. So it could be a question about that. It could be like, or you're debating whether you want to invest money in this project and whether when you think you're going to get your return on investment, that type of thing. Because this is about a big dream, something major, because these are 3 major arcanas. It's like your current path is saying, yeah. It's like you want clarity on return on investment kind of thing. Like maybe it's a big opportunity being set in front of you. Or maybe you're creating a big opportunity. And it says you're moving forward. So like this is definitely going to be, he's sitting in a throne, but look at him. He looks like he's leaning forward and ready to go right now. Got the little salamander, the little alchemical symbol for fire. He's ready to go. He's like, I got my staff. I'm ready to do this. So it looks like the current path that you're on, you're going to get clarity. Some kind of clarity going to come to you. Some kind of truth. It's going to help you understand the give and take of the situation, and it may help you move forward. And you got another ace in the other path if you choose. This is more of an emotional path. So it could be that you're debating whether you want to choose, love or truth. And some would say, hey, well, truth is love, but love is all encompassing. If I said, hey, I love you, you would know what I meant. But if I said, hey, define love, that's a little bit more difficult, isn't it? Because love is all encompassing. For love for someone is stalking someone and then maybe doing something terrible to them out of their obsession with them. So love can be on one polarity, obsession, and it can be dangerous. And then for another person, it's, I love him so much, I'll let him go. Or the other person can be, I love him so much, I'm serving him in this way. Love is all encompassing. So defining it is impossible. So when I say that you're choosing, this is like head or heart, right? You got the Ace of Swords, be head, heart. And then some people would say, always trust your heart. Well, it depends on the individual, depends on the situation. Sometimes being too emotional in a situation leads to conflict. Sometimes being too cold and logical will destroy the situation, or you might not have no heart in the situation. And it's saying, release negativity and have a practical plan. That's both of these paths, right? One path is like the practical plan. The other path is release negative energy. Because it's like, it looks like negative energy. You're getting a message coming in. Somebody may be really infatuated with you. Like, you may be all about this, your project or what you're creating, but there's someone around you. It's like, yo, I love you. Maybe male or female or something like that. Maybe you're really focused on trying to create whatever this big thing is. And then on one path, it's like, it's all about that money going forward. I want my clarity on it. And the clarity's coming in, and I'm trying to be this. I'm trying to be the king so that I can be this guy. I can be so abundant that I can give freely. And on this path, it's like you're choosing this complete compassion, heart. A message of love. Maybe you're going to deliver a message of love for someone. Could definitely be that. Maybe you're thinking about someone that you love. Over here, your mind's on business. Over here, your mind's on love. And maybe it's both paths. Maybe you have a choice in both paths. Maybe it's one path or the other, depending on the Aries. One of you can be on this path of love. Over here, other could be on this path of business. But either way, it's a big question. So if it's on the path of love, we're talking marriage, right? Because the Hierophant could be marriage, for sure. This is patience, using what you have in there. It could be healing even. Could be the healing of a relationship. Could be an alteration in self. Like if it's about love, you're not trying. It's about healing this type of energy in a relationship if you're existing, or if you're trying to find new love. Maybe you're trying to find a strong individual, that's willing to take care of business, kind of thing. So this path is love. This path is business, and it could be both. You could have some I imagine most of us will have some interaction with both within our lives. Then you have the advice. Completion there, happy home. Being overly abundant. This is saying hold on to your money, though. Or be smart with your money. So, like, even if maybe you do get some kind of advancement for a project, like maybe you get money, it's saying be smart about it. Because this is saying that you're going to be involved in the give and take of things. This is advice. This is saying be careful with your money. Hold on to what you can. It's like, you want this, stay happy, stay with your family. Think about your family with what you're doing, or, whatever your home life is or whatever it is that's kind of your refuge from whatever this project may be. It's saying, be smart so that you can keep this going because there's something unseen that may happen. And it could be around the moon because, right, it's the moon. And I'm telling you, this moon's coming in Virgo. So something that could be that needs to be planned for. Like I said, with this energies of this astrology, it's really all about planning. Even with that kite in the sky, kites fly high. So plan big, right? There's a lot of harmonious aspects in a kite, but there's also the opposition. And the opposition is kind of the most important thing because it's going to give you your motivation to reach the potential of the rest of that kite so it can fly. And so there's something not necessarily that you know about yet. But it's always like that in life. Whatever our plans are, even if it's going smooth or things are going away, there's always something that kind of comes up that we didn't really expect. But that's the beauty of life. That's the mystery of life. That's why it's special. Because not everything is known. We discover it as we go. This is the outcome, right? You have the world here, so there's completion. It could be that right now you're feeling stuck. It could be like, bad thoughts or bad dreams about something. It could be that it's going to be a freaking headache, whatever the situation is that you're trying to create. Maybe there's a lot of work that goes into it, right? Maybe you're going to have to take a new perspective, and it could have something to do with this. You might have to change your perspective on how you do things. So it's, if you're choosing head or heart over here, maybe you should choose one or the other. Or maybe if you're on the path of one right now, maybe you're going to have to take a perspective on the other. Maybe it's pretty much that you're going to have to accept both and find a balance one way or the other. But either way, you're going to win. You're going to complete it. It's going to get there no matter what. It's going to be a fight, probably inside yourself, because this is, internal mental struggle, but you have this on the path that you're on. So it's going to be clear what you need to do, but it doesn't mean this isn't going to happen. This happens to all of us. Bad dreams or bad thoughts, you need to integrate them. Acknowledge them, give them their place. Don't try to block them or push them out, because then you're going to shove them into your unconscious and they're going to burst forth and they're going to rule your life and you're going to call it fate. And you're gonna be like, whoa, well, that came out of nowhere, and that's just the world around you trying to be like, look, this needs to be acknowledged and healed. That way you can move forward in the way that you want. Because if you're like, you're telling the universe, I want this thing, but there's this stuff in you that's unworked out, and the vessel is not ready for what it's asking for, it's gonna be like, yo, if you want this thing, it's just gonna keep reiterating in your life until you integrate it and give it its place. And it's okay to have negative thoughts and negative feelings. Everyone does, regardless of how crazy you think your thoughts are, regardless of the moral stance of the world or the dogmatic stance of a church or whatever, or the laws. Just because you think or feel something doesn't mean you're going to act upon it. I mean, like, there's a lot of things flying around in the collective conscious that are going to, I mean, just things you see on TV, things you hear about, they can influence your mind and your thoughts. So it's okay to have those kind of thoughts. So don't feel like they're terrible if you have some kind of terrible thought about something. Just think about it when it happens, acknowledge it, try to think about why it happened, and be like, okay, that's kind of, I had that thought. It's kind of part of who I am right now. If it comes back again, I'll have some semblance and understanding of why it happened, and I'll try to understand why it happened then again. And then when it happened again, is the trigger the same? Is it a different trigger? Those types of things. At least you're giving it a place in the conscious. That way it's not shoved into the unconscious to burst forth. Okay? That makes sense, hopefully. Jungian psychology, but it's the best out there. I know it was in the 1900s, early 1900s. It's still the best out there, I promise. Well, definitely early 1900s. Man's a genius. He understood more about the human condition than probably anybody I've ever read. And he did it mostly through studying himself, but he also, treated thousands of patients. So he knows his stuff. Not that others don't. Whatever works for you. That's just kind of where I live. It's what helped me work through a lot of my things and the things that I have to work through now. Jungian psychology is the way I go. All right, let's get some clarity on this. Yeah, practical plan, release negativity. That's good advice for everybody. Ooh, right there. It could be an earth sign in your life, and that could be kind of what this emperor energy is. But it could be, again, it's got, like I told you, on this card, it's got a ram in this deck. This Queen of Disc has a ram on it. So it could definitely be you as well. Maybe you have Earth in your chart. Maybe you're watching this as an Aries ascendant or an Aries moon. Maybe you're Taurus. But this is moving forward practically. But it also could be that you're working with someone that's an Earth sign, or maybe that's the individual that's offering you the love in this situation that you're asking about. This is a type of guidance. This is a type of wisdom that can come from the unconscious. It could be, messages from beyond. And I say beyond, but I mean, with Neptune being anchored in Pisces and that kite hitting the sun and the moon, we all could be getting downloads right now. Instant knowing, Then you have virtue. That's being established, but it's also being virtuous in the situation, right? So I'd say it's, on your question, and it could be a question about a specific person. It could be about a queen of discs, and maybe somebody's some kind of influence in your life, some female. And maybe the question is about, is she being virtuous, in this situation? Is this someone I should marry if it's in love, male or female, it doesn't matter. And you're trying to listen in to see, or do I want to be virtuous enough to tie myself down to this individual? And when I say tie myself down, I don't mean it pejoratively. I just mean when you enter into that kind of, relationship with someone, or that kind of a commitment, you're giving up a lot of your individuality to create this new individual that is actually two people, this new conglomerate or amalgamation of energies that's, so you're going to give up some of yourself as what they're going to give up some of themselves, and then it's going to change both of you. So it's commitment is really important and really big, and that could be a question to be about commitment. And it also could be about the work that has to be put in to whatever this project is. Maybe you have these ideas and these what you feel like are guidance, right? And you're trying to be established in that, right? And that takes a practical plan. Hard work, steady work. But I said right now it's more about planning. Make no mistake. Just with the astrology, it's all about planning right now. With that moon, and I showed you the mansion of the moon. It's a good time for healing too. So if it's like a health regime you're trying to plan for yourself, it's a good time. And for Aries, you are natural athletes anyway. Mars is the planet of athleticism, essentially. Jupiter can be too, but Jupiter has more than just that to it. But when it comes to like physical, you're talking about Mars, even sexual, it's Mars. And Mars actually can't even be separated from Venus. They're kind of the opposite of each other. They're the mirrors of each other. So while Venus is love, Mars is generally sex, right? But it doesn't have to play out that way. It just depends on how you use your Mars, where it's placed, how you use your Venus, where it's placed, and the aspects on it. And that's something you can use in synastry, right? Like if you're trying to look at charts and see if they're compatible with a synastry chart with like a specific person, you're going to want to look at the Venuses. You're also going to want to look at the Mars. You want y'all's Venuses to be complementary. Or you want his Mars to be complementary to your Venus. Or vice versa. Sun and moon. You want to see the sun and the moon. Generally the moon of the female and the sun of the male. But it can also still be vice versa. You want them complementary. At least that's what's going to... And when I say complementary, I generally mean opposites. So even though I'm saying complementary, there's going to be a lot of things that y'all learn and teach each other. Learn from each other and teach to each other. That's what it's all about. You want the opposite. So like if your sun is... You're a male and your sun is a Taurus, you're going to want that female to have a Scorpio moon. And there's going to be a lot that y'all... You're going to realize... Well, that would just make a great physical connection, by the way. But... You're gonna learn a lot from each other, and a lot of things will be woken up in you that you didn't know about yourself. If you can find someone that's self-aware and conscious of who they are, if both individuals are, they'll teach each other a lot. If they're not, it's just gonna cause a lot of conflict. Sadly. Oh man, it's all gain. The path that you're on is looking like, yeah. I think that you might have quick success early. I think like whatever your project is, whatever it is, you're going to have a success like right away, but I think it's going to be work after that because you got, Prince of Discs, right? Princess of Discs. And again, with these two are complementary cards, so it could be somebody you're working with. And again, this is all Pinnacle energy, so it could be an earth sign. Come on. And it could just be, business partners. Could be business partners, somebody you're working with. And you also have the Nine of Pentacles, which is the Lord of Gain. Right? So, all kind of gain here. This may be quick success coming your way, but it's looking like it's not going to stay that way. But nothing should be that easy. It's good to get a good start on things. That way, it gives you leeway to be able to work out the issues that pop up, that undoubtedly pop up, whether it's business or love. Because there's always going to be something that has to be worked out. There's always wrinkles that have to be, or fractures that need to be integrated, or brought back together, or understood. It's good to do that with someone, right? And it could be that it could be that this individual is like not only your love partner, but now that you're going to work together business-wise, right? It could be something like that. It could be you're about to, meet someone like that. Or through business you find love, right? This other path. This other path isn't with the offer of love, with the clarity on it, right? Some kind of love coming in, but it may be with a water sign. It's offering it to you, but you have strife and disappointment. You have the Five of Rods and the Five of Cups. And, just because they're fives, this just looks like it would be like arguing of some sort. There's some kind of like arguing. Maybe about the project, possibly. Could be that a water sign's coming in. Could be disappointed with them in some way. Could be somebody, it didn't have to be a lover. It could be, family member, business partner, like I said. Someone that you trusted. Maybe you're fighting with them. Not able to focus on the positive, or they disappointed you in some way. If it's a water sign, it could be a Cancer. All right? So in this love over here, it could be that either you were disappointed in them or they were disappointed in you. It's a message. It's a message of love or a message of a relationship being offered, but it doesn't look like it's that moon's here. And with those 2 5s, I'm thinking, and the 2 5s, it could just be more about the number than the actual cards in that situation, right? Maybe this person's 55 years old. Who knows? Maybe 5 is important. Maybe they were born on 5/5. Maybe they're a Taurus. Or that would be, Taurus. I mean, it's disappointment and strife, right? But, you have an emotional card there. See, over here it's all money. Like on that project, it's showing just money, 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 money. Over here it's like, nope. It's like it's emotional, but you're going to have to work for it. Or there's going to be, arguments or disappointments. But, if you don't have arguments, disappointment, relationship, are you really even trying? No relationship, I don't care what, regardless of what they post on social media or Instagram or whatever, it's not all hunky-dory. It's not. Not if they're people. If they're robots or aliens, maybe. But I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Kind of curious what this moon's all about. What is this that you're not seeing yet? And it could be that, if you do choose this path that you're on, the relationship seems all good up front, or the person seems all good up front, and then you find out that maybe it isn't exactly what you were looking for. And that kind of stuff happens all the time. I mean, it's not uncommon. Then you have to decide whether you want to work on it or not. Like I said, it's going to be an amalgamation of the both of you. And if you can't alchemize it and make it work, and that could be what this, the Temperance card was about in the middle. It could be about trying to work through certain things and see if they're marriage material, and that could be the question, right? It could be that this is fated. There's going to be a change that happens, either path, and it's fated, right? Because this is here, fortune. And it could be that success, maybe you have great financial success, leads you away from your relationship. It happens to a lot of people. They get money and they say, this is change. It's normally the Lord of harmonious change, right? Jupiter and Capricorn. Those two actually, because they're quite opposite, actually balance each other out real well. And then you got the Prince of Wands, which is like forward, passionate movement. It could be that, you're moving so fast and so forward in whatever this endeavor is, and maybe it does take off and get big, that love gets left behind in some way or neglected. And that, it's going to cause issues. Or maybe you miss out on an opportunity for love because of ambition. But it is fated. So if you're on either path, there's a change coming. It's harmonious change, so it's not going to be anything too crazy. It's going to be a change that kind of evolves naturally, and it's probably going to be very obvious when the change does occur, that it needed to occur. It's the wheel, so it's going to happen. Whoop, it already wants to stop. Defeat is here, but so is victory. So yeah, it's the defeat. You may feel defeat in your mind, because swords are the mind, right? That's your thoughts. You may feel defeat, but you actually are going to win and don't realize it. Maybe you don't see it right away, like I said, because the world's here, healing, or your wish coming true. I think it's just work. I think it's not going to happen as fast as you want. You're going to want like instant results, but it's not going to. It just doesn't happen like that, right? You're going to have to put in the work. As long as you focus on that work, you're going to have it. Release the negativity, make a practical plan. The Mansion of the Moon, it's about healing. It's about new love. So if it is new love, but it's also about making practical plans. Well, with the astrology, it's making a practical plan. So, getting in a relationship, that stuff can happen swift, and it can be all emotional. And then, so you're not all in your right mind. The persona comes out, and, and the asses and the elbows, right? So it's all this, we're caught up in the physical and the emotional, and thinking really isn't part of it. And we're not really seeing everything we need to see. And then when you need to make the practical plan to move it on and heal it, you have to make the practical plan. But this is all about planning right now, right? It's all about planning, whether it's love or money, business. But you're going to win eventually. The outcome is clear. You got the star and the world. So you're going to get your wish, but it may come at a sacrifice. It may come at the sacrifice of love or relationship. And it may not even be a relationship that you know about. right? It could be that it's there in front of you and being offered to you, but you don't really see it because you're just so fixated on accomplishing your goal. And, Aries is a cardinal sign. Cardinal signs are, they pick a direction, like a cardinal direction, and they go and they don't stop until they accomplish, and nothing else matters around them. But that's why they accomplish a lot. One of the most successful signs on this planet is Aries. Look it up. I'm not making that up. Okay, Aries, that's all I have. Please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. I'm trying to get monetized here so I can do more on the astrology side of things and bring more content. But either way, Aries, if you don't want to like and subscribe and comment, I'm grateful that you were here anyway, and I hope to see you back. It looks good for you either way. The outcome is all good. Practical plan. Release negativity. Thank you for being here. Goodbye.